Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Shannon. This is Made by Boo and I have got a stack of projects here to share with you. Let me adjust that real quick. So first of all, I have one finished object and two that are I guess half finished, a couple of works in progress, some new things. So definitely time to dive into it. The first finished object that I have is a finished cardigan. So this is using the 2024 Advent calendar from A Chick That Knits. The theme of this year was dark and dreamy, and I did get it on the sparkle base. And I made the Radvent Cardigan. I do not remember off the top of my head who the pattern's by. I'm sorry, I'm really bad about that. But it will be linked below. And here it is. So it's got the vertical stripes, sparkle in it. Let me see if I can try it on real quick while still showing most of it. I love it. It's nice and soft. I love the colors. Definitely some I like a little bit better. Like this, these are more my shades. The reds are less my shades, but I love the variation in it. It is a super wash, so I know it's going to stretch a little bit. I feel like the arms and everything fit really, really well. The only part that I don't feel fits well is the waist, because like if I take it in to actually button it, I feel like I have to do that like suck it in perfect posture thing. So I will probably not wear it buttoned up much unless the yarn kind of relaxes, which I know super wash can do. So who knows? Maybe it'll be perfectly comfortable soon. Really, really happy with it. And as it's a fingering weight cardigan, it's one that I know I will be able to wear a little bit earlier than some other ones. And I do work at a place where our air conditioning sometimes works overtime. So I may be able to even wear it just like right away, take it down to work. It already feels like we're having so many cool mornings and evenings here. So who knows? I might get a lot of use out of this very, very soon. Probably not sitting here in my room though, because it is a little bit warm in here today. So that is my first finished object. I know last time when I filmed, I was about halfway through this color and it was worked kind of one half to about here. And I was working with the second half, so I went all the way through the second half, joined the two of them, which I am not great at Kitchener. I look at the back seam and there's definitely like some spots where I'm like, that looks bad, but it should get pretty well hidden in the back. And then I did the bottom ribbing, the button band. I blocked it, put on some buttons. I had some coconut shell buttons that I hadn't been using for anything. And now it is all done. There's definitely still like some slightly longer ends on the inside. I may trim them shorter at some point, but I'm not real worried about them being a little longer because they're on the inside. So that is my only real finished object. The next one I have that I'm counting as like half finished is this big stack of squares, trying not to drop them. So these are all of these squares that I made for the crochet blanket. Okay, so let me get all my thoughts in order. This is the Yorkshire Crochet Along Blanket by Mima Makes, using my 2024 Advent calendar from FanGirl Fibers. This one's theme was Haunted Holidays. So each square, I used two different colors. The pattern from Mima Makes, you're supposed to do two of each square. So these are all washed, blocked, and ready to go. I have my, let's see if I can get it without knocking down my whole thing. This is the yarn that I'm going to join it in. A nice tan, which I feel like is going to be neutral enough to go well with everything. Like the theme was Haunted Holidays, but I feel like it's got a nice kind of like earthy vibe. So I think that tan's going to go very well. The next step that I have to do is take these and lay them out to make sure I like how I planned on putting everything. Because I laid all the colors out originally. and then made the squares according to that. Now I just want to lay them all down and make sure I'm still happy with it. And if I am still happy with it, I'm going to put them in their appropriate stacks and start joining them. That is I'm probably going to rearrange them today, but not necessarily start crocheting on them yet. And obviously I do have more than one. I have 6 of that one of my joining and border color already caked up, and then I have a 7th as a backup. I'm using Cascade Heritage. The color number is 5759. I don't remember what color it was. I think it was some kind of like a caramel or something like that. I'm very excited to be getting close to the end of that. I feel like I'm making some really good progress on my Advent calendars. I only have 2 left that are not completely finished. So I'm very excited and hopeful that I will completely finish all of the Advent calendars that I already had before new ones start coming in. I'm not sure if I'm counting before new ones coming in, including that I did get a Halloween Advent calendar this year. But we'll see. I have 2 blankets left involving Advent calendars, and then I do technically have one other Advent calendar that is from 2023. It was a 13-day practical magic themed one. When speaking to one of my daughters recently, I just kind of referred to that as the Advent calendar that we're not going to talk about, because when I was saying I was going to finish all of the ones I had this year, I was really thinking of 2024's, and that one's from before that. I know that's kind of a cop-out. I do need to make a plan for it. And based on the fact that I've done so many of these, I know I can. I'm just kind of being lazy. So I'm going to finish the ones I have. We'll see if I am able to get that one done by the end of this year as well. And then in 2026, I can focus on 2025's Advent calendars. And I feel like I won't feel bad getting several every year if I'm using them regularly. So the other half-finished object that I have is a pair of socks. This is actually the second pair of socks I have from this particular yarn. It was from the Yarnable August of 2024 colorway, Neon Graffiti. The first one, I'm actually wearing them. I doubt you can see that, and I look ridiculous. I made myself a pair of socks using these. So these are half finished, of course, because it is another pair of socks. I'm making a, I guess, more of coordinating pair for my little one. Because I can get a pair of socks for me that are okay tall, and then a second little pair for my little one. She's starting to wear some of the knitted socks that I've made her. She only has a couple of pairs, which means she doesn't wear them all the time. She's not a huge sock kid to begin with, but she is starting to love getting them. So I have one sock made just on the leg of the second sock. I'm hoping to be able to finish the second sock this week, but I mean, sometimes things go a little bit awry, so we'll see. It is half finished because I have one sock, and they are tiny socks, so I don't think it's going to take me very long to finish them. They will definitely be done by next week. The next thing I have is sort of a half-finished object, but I don't really think of it that way. So this, you probably can't see, that has a nice Batman symbol. I got this a while ago with the idea of making it for one of my brothers who really loves Batman, and it is the Batman Woobles kit. So there is a Joker, Batman, and Harley Quinn, and each of them have a small accessory. Let's see if I can open this because it is very awkward. So I have made all of the small accessories. I actually started working on this again, or to begin with. I've had like 2 or 3 times I put myself on a deadline to finish it so I can take it and give it to my brother. And every time I haven't even started it. But then I saw another Woobles kit come out that I kind of wanted to get. So I was like, nope, can't keep buying them unless I'm making them. And I happened to need a new project that night. So it kind of lit a fire. So the first one that I did was the little Joker hat. I feel like it looks a little bit more like a sunbonnet than a nice flat, I don't know exactly what kind of hat you'd call his hat. But it's definitely more round and sunbonnet-y to me. I am keeping all of the, like, I'm finishing it and then putting it back in the box because I'm not going to do anything with any of these packaging. But my brother, again, really likes Batman, so maybe he will like it as part of display. I don't know. The next one is what's called the Batarang. I don't think mine came out very well, but it is just a teeny tiny bat. And then I have Harley Quinn's Mallet, which came out pretty cute. And then I have not done any of the figures completely yet. So that's why it's kind of half finished, because I've done 3 of these 6 boxes, but they're all the small ones. So I kind of let my kids vote on who I did first, and they selected Harley Quinn. And there she is, completely finished, obviously. Okay, obviously not. So I do have her body done. That is all I have gotten done, and I do need to get some more work done on her, but I definitely had a little bit of a all over the place project working this weekend. After finishing my cardigan, I just could not decide what I want, and I've had some elbow pain, so some things that I would have been working on at other times, I would work on a little bit and it would hurt. So I kind of went back and forth with a few things. So I did a little bit of this because it was crochet, and I kind of wanted to work on that crochet, the Yorkshire crochet along blanket, and do the joining, but I wasn't quite at the point of doing that. So working on these Woobles kits gave me that crochet, which was slightly different movement than knitting. Knitting seems to be hurting more right now than crochet, so I'm trying to do other stuff and rest it, but there's so many things I want to work on. So that's making it a little bit harder because I have options. I want to do all of them, and I can't do all of them. So I have one more work in progress right here in front of me. This is a very, very new one. I started this yesterday. I actually started 2 of these projects yesterday. So, like I said, I have a lot in progress right now. So this is not very far. This is a G Street. Yeah, G Street sweater from Little Wolf Knits. I need to look and see what I did because I think my stitch count is off a lot, and I've got a little hole there. So I may have dropped a stitch or missed a stitch. I don't know. May have added a stitch. We'll see. So this is a garter stitch sweatshirt. The pattern is by the Little Wolf Knits. I have a little stitch marker in here that's just telling me which one is the right side. Since it is garter, I want to keep track of it. And this is part of the back panel. So as you can see, completely done, finish it off today. So much sweater here. The yarn is hand spun by me. This is my second time this year making an attempt at using some of my hand spun wool to make a garment. Last time I ran out when I thought I was going to have enough. I have a lot more this time, so I'm hoping I won't, but I'm definitely still very nervous. I don't remember the wool content or anything like that because I spun it a long time ago, but I do remember that I had, I think it might have been merino. But it was this pack that was like 10 different ones, and there were various shades of green with a little bit of brown, and I blended them together so that there would be different shades, and all of them kind of are in different places. I don't have all of the balls in my bag right now because they don't all... Like, when they're all in there, they fit, but it's kind of bulky, so I figured, don't have all of them. And then I also had some Surrey silk, like the trimmings from making saris. There we go, not Surrey, sari silk. So all these bright colored bits, and I blended that into everything too. So it's got all these shades of green with little bits of rainbow. And I think it's going to be a gorgeous sweater, but I started it yesterday as my elbow was hurting. It was just hurting a little bit too much. So I haven't done a ton of work on it yet, but I am hoping that I'll be able to get a lot more work on it soon. All right, so I have 2 more works in progress that I'm going to talk about today. There's a couple of other things that have gotten a little bit of work, but it was either not enough to really feel justified in showing it today, or in some cases not really convenient to show it, but I'll get to that in just a second. The next one I have is another new cast on from yesterday. I cast on 2 new things yesterday to kind of prepare. Because I'm close to being done with those socks, I knew I was going to need another mobile project soon, and I decided instead of doing another pair of socks, I'm going to do a Musselburgh hat. This one is going to be for me. So I just did through the initial cast on of the crown, and then I did like, I don't know, I think 2 rounds after getting all the increases done. And so very much not very far. This is from Evergreen Yarn Studio, and the yarn color is 90s Kid. This was their Pacific sock base. When I ordered it, I did not realize it was a single ply, and I just felt like that was not going to be very, very strong for socks, especially the way I wear my hand knit socks. I wear my hand knit socks all the time. I wear them everywhere. Pretty much the only time I don't wear hand knit socks is if I am doing some sort of exercise. And then I have some like other cotton socks that I wear. But I'm wearing them now. I wore them out shopping earlier. I'm going to have to do grocery shopping later, and I'm not changing out of my wool socks even though it's August. I wear them to work and my tennis shoes, all of those things. So I felt like single ply was not just going to work. But I did really like the color, and I figured it would make a great hat. It's nice and soft and fuzzy. I don't wear a lot of hats, so we'll see. But I still wanted to make it, and I did kind of need a little bit of a break from making socks, so this seemed like a good break. But again, not a lot on it, just that initial crown. But that does mean that as soon as I am done with that other pair of socks, I have literally just working the round knitting for like a very long distance until I'm ready to do the end. So I will have a lot to work on with that. The last work in progress I have to share is not knitting or crochet. It is spinning. So this color is actually from Boss Kitty. This is her BFL wool fiber, and it is the color Reborn in Fire. She did a trunk show at my local yarn shop. Wow, it's probably close to a year ago now. Like, it's been a little while since receiving this. I had started this a little bit ago, and then my wheel was having some issues. And I thought it needed to be cleaned, so I waited, had time, cleaned it. Still didn't work, did a little bit more research on troubleshooting it, and discovered that I may have had a bad motor. I don't know how common that is with the eel wheel electric wheels here, but I would put it on, and if you kind of knocked it, it might start, but it never really quite picked up speed. So I had started this one already, and after going, it was like a month or so of troubleshooting and no spinning done on this wool. And finally, when I saw that I might have a bad motor, I contacted the company. I think I talked about it last time, and they got back to me. They actually got back to me quicker than I knew because it got caught in mailboxes. Asked me what the issue, to just go into more detail on the issue. I told them what it was and what their website had said. They agreed, yep, sounded like a bad motor. And the motor came in yesterday. It was super easy to reinstall. And I was able to get some spinning done last night and this morning, which has been mostly good on my elbow. So I'm hoping to finish what I have. This is, I don't know, it looks like about half full. I have, I don't know, maybe a third of the braid left. Some of it has been, like, I do sometimes pre-draft and make it a little fluffier, especially if I'm not feeling my best, because then if I pre-draft it, I'm not pulling while it's pulling, which is a little more irritating on my elbow. So I might try to get this finished today. We will see, because it hurts less than some other things. And then I do have a couple of spools that need to be plied. So while my elbow is bothering me, I might do a bit more spinning. I do love to spin. Spinning can be very soothing, but I do tend to find that setting up my wheel and everything, when I have technically 3 wheels. I have my electric wheel that I just showed here. I have a Kiwi double treadle, and then my mom found me an Ashford that's got more of the single treadle traditional spinning wheel look. And I used my Kiwi wheel forever with the double treadle, and I love it. But I don't have a place in my house where I could just leave it set up all the time with like a chair where I could just sit down and start spinning. So it always became just a little bit more of a pain to work on. But I did actually get that one out and work on a project last weekend. So last weekend, my in-laws had given me a llama fleece. And last weekend, my husband was out of town with 2 of my kids. So it was like, I can work on washing this fleece while there's less people around to worry about it being in the way of. And this fleece is a lot. I washed probably 2/3 of it. And it was not a very clean one to begin with. It was a gift to me. And honestly, I think my in-laws got it from a friend. Like, not from a business that should have pre-cleaned it. I think it was a friend or a friend of a friend. But it was such a sweet thing, but it was also a lot dirtier than I expected. But while working on it, it did remind me that I did have another fleece that I thought I had it all drafted and ready to spin in bats. I was wrong. I do have more that I'm going to have to card and put into bats so that I can keep spinning it. But cleaning the llama fleece, the long story, just slightly less long, did inspire me to go back to working on that other one so that I could finish those up, because the hope was to make a sweater out of this gray fleece that I got when I lived in England. And I was probably about halfway through spinning all of that, and it was like, ooh, I should finish that. So that one I had started on my Kiwi wheel. I did get probably half a bobbin on it last weekend. And then I stopped, and I'm not showing that right now, mostly because it's all set up on the wheel. I can't just pick up my big wheel in the same way I can this one. So I will show you that one when the bobbin is full and it's done. And hopefully I can arrange to get more of it done. I really just need to make more time for spinning than I think I normally do, because I have a bunch of wool waiting to be spun. Some of it is like purchased, roving, and things like that. Easy to go, bright and colorful. Others is, I have 2 full fleeces that need to be carded and spun. One, like with the llama, I still have more to wash. I still have to pick it. Like, there's still quite a bit of work to do on a lot of these. But for a little while there, I did have some fleeces, and the scouring and picking and carding and all of that is fun to a point. But there's also sometimes where I just don't want to do it. So I do need to buckle down and finish that. And I'd like to spend some of the roving I have. Like, what's the point of having it if I never work on it? But I also do want to work with it, which means things like working on my sweater. I think it's the constant issue I have within my own personal preferences for making, is I want to do everything, and I don't have time to do everything. All right, so that is all of the making that I have to show today. I feel like it was a bunch, but that's not necessarily a bad thing to have a whole bunch to show. It all just depends on whether or not it stresses you out to have too much. And I'm not currently stressed out by the pile over there. So yeah, life stuff. I actually did not have a whole bunch of exciting stuff going on recently. My husband took 2 of the kids to go and visit his parents before school started again, and I stayed home and went to work. So, I mean, within that, I could be like, yeah, I had these great adventures, but that are things that I couldn't do with my kids. No. One day, I literally sat at home all day, watched the entire first season of Wednesday, and worked on my cardigan until it was almost done. I finished the squares in my Yorkshire blanket because some of those are a little more complicated, and I needed the video tutorials that comes with the pattern. And so they've been going slowly, and it was like, not as many people around the house, zoomed through the rest of them. I really was just kind of a lump in the house working on my projects, which was both really, really good and bad. And yeah, it left not really a lot of exciting stuff. Everybody is back now, of course. School is starting in our area next week, so I am both looking forward to that, and also there's parts of it that are not going to affect my day-to-day life because I worked all through the summer. So my schedule doesn't change that much just because the kids are in or out of school. It's just more of how back to routine the whole house is. And with school starting up again, we're all going to be a little bit more back to routine. So that is good, and it is bad. We'll just kind of adjust back into it, and everything will be fine. So yeah, that's all I really have for right now. Until we speak again, have a very happy making. Feel free to like and subscribe if you'd like to. And I will see you again soon.